to a video from digitalifestyle.com. This is a new sound set for the Korg Wavestate. This is the Akai AX73 collection. Also available for the Korg Modwave, slightly different performances but using the same samples. So this is a set of samples from the Akai AX73, which is a bit of a forgotten classic, an analog synth from the 80s made by Akai before the S1000 sampling days. And this is multi-samples. These are a collection of multi-samples from the Akai device that I've brought into the Wavestate and created some performances around them. So to load them in, you use the Korg Sample Editor to load my bank in, or to add my multi-samples to your bank and transfer that across. I'll talk about a little bit more of that at the end of the video. I'm just going to demonstrate some of the performances. So they're a mixture of single waves, demonstrating the samples, and there's a few wave sequences as well. So for example, this one, this movie loop. This uses a bass sequence using a couple of different bass sounds from the sequence, and a bit of filter modulation as well on a free running LFO to get that in and out effect. So let's have a listen to it. Some of them are named after the samples themselves, and I've sort of picked those up from that. So we've got some analog type, well, they're all analog type sounds, they're all analog synths. And quite a lot of resonance on them. The Akai was pretty good on resonance. So it's really nice sort of bright sound from that. I haven't gone mad on the effects on these to really demonstrate the samples. You can incorporate them into your own patches. So there's a good example of the resonance. That's great. That's on the sample, not using the filters. Got a few basses on here as well. That's a bit of resonance on them. And you can play them high up and they sound quite good as well. This one I call Bladerunner. It's got that really nice deep brass sound. This one is brass solo, but well, like it's this sweeping filter resonance you can hear you kick in there. So that's in the sample. Again, quite a bright sound. This one, the sample's called Chruch Organ. I'm not quite sure how organ it is. It's a nice bright sound, and especially play a bit lower down. And you could take some of the attack out of that and make a quite nice pad out of it. This is called cross bass. Because on this one, I'm crossfading between two different bass samples. Just give you an idea what type of things you can do with it. Now this one I included, it was a sample called Drum. Now, It's not a brilliant drum sound, it's an analog synth, but it's kind of got a nice zap sound to it, so with a bit of a sequence and a bit of effects it sounds quite interesting. I've used it on one of the other patches as well. So this one has got, again, nice bit of resonance on it, a bit synth popping. This is called Electricity, which has got a nice resonance on there as well. And then we've got one high horns, which is high horn sound. It's a nice soft brass. It's a nice sort of synth pad type sound. And another horn one. Nice 80s sort of horn sound on there. Incidentally, I'm doing this on the Wavestate Native, but it works on all the different versions of the Wavestate SE and Mark II and the original one. Hello, brass one. Nice sort of stabby brass sound. One called Lazer. The sample was called Lazer, spelled that way. Well, that was quite an interesting sound. We've got a lead sound. Traditional sort of synth lead sound. And we've got a mini bass. This is one of the ones I demonstrated at the beginning, the movie loop. So that's, we're using two bass sounds on a sequence, and then a percussion set using the Wavestate percussion sounds, and a split with an ensemble string. Next one is just a simple bass called Mr. Bass. Then we've got some orchestral sounds, or one as it's called in the sample. And two. So Orch 3 is a couple of layers with some multi-samples, switching between the different Orch samples. So it sort of switches between them like that. This is a single wave. So Orch Sync is actually a single sample. It's got quite a lot of movement in the sample itself. Then we've got an organ, which doesn't sound anything like an organ, but that's what the sample is. But it's a nice analog string, synth string, I think. One called Passive. A square wave sound. this one is a single sample with the organ one that you just heard, but it's going through a bandpass filter. There you can see the bandpass filter. Just gives it that movement on there. Phaser. And then the piano sample is very much analog piano style, as the RMI piano, that kind of thing. Very useful in its own right, and one called Prophet, which I think is supposed to be an emulation of like Prophet 5 type sync. And another resonance synth. This one is using a free running LFO on an arpeggiator to bring that arpeggiator in and out. Stabby sound. So this one called Steel Drum doesn't really sound like a steel drum. It's got a nice sort of plucky sound to it, and of course all these are just samples, so you can make them and put envelopes on them and put the sequencing on them and so on. Got some nice string. And we've got strings and flute. And that's in this multi-sampler together, those two. And notice the string. And Syn Cello, the sample's called Syn Cello, and you get where they're coming from when the analog synth sound was made, but I think it's got like a sync on it. Really. Incidentally, some of these have got mod control in terms of the pitch modulation and aftertouch. Nice Syn Flute. TNG's got a nice deep sound. It's a nice sort of string sound. And VI. Got a nice sort of warm analog sound. And then we've got one called Vox, which is a vocal sound. For analog synth, not easy to do. But I actually like it just as a warm sound. It doesn't really sound like vocals, does it? But and one called Woodwind. Nice sort of square sound, and one called Brass and Pad. This is a dual layer one, so you've got the stab of the brass and then the pad comes in. and then the one I used earlier on, the sequence one. So this one is going through all the different, or a load of different samples, and some glitchy effects coming in as well. And I use one of the built-in lanes to do that, the shape lane, the acid Berlin one, to control that. So those are the samples. There's samples and performances for the Wavestate. If you've got a Modwave, I've also got a collection available for that as well. Please let me know if you like these. Please like and subscribe if you do. Just starting out with the Wavestate stuff. I've been mainly focusing on Modwave, but because there's quite a lot of crossover between them, I've done a bit of Wavestate, and I'm going to do some more if you like these sound sets. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.